You thought about me?
Yeah, I thought about you. I was I was cleaning the pool earlier today, and I got the barking farts.
The what?
You ever had the barking farts? You ever had those? We just like pop them off. It's like bop.
Oh,
you never had those?
Yeah. I never really called them the barking farts, but yeah.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like an angry little dog.
Just like little claps, really. I mean.
No, these had some attitude behind them.
All right. That made you think of me, huh?
Anytime I fart, I think of you. Because that is, if you were a country, that would be your main export.
All right, let's move. Let's move past this. How about that?
That and broken.
It's just fucking hilarious. Everything's so funny. Fucking farts and feet, man. All right.
Sorry.
Everything's so fucking hilarious to everyone. All the fucking feet and all the farts you can have. Fucking all you can fart and feet buffet. You ever had your fucking farter footed?
Welcome to
Hello, Beatrice, and welcome to Die, a weekly podcast where we discuss all kinds of weird stuff. The mundane and the macabre and all the other words we previously came up with, but mostly conspiracy theories. I am kind of leading this one. My name's Catherine Boyer.
I'm Joshua.
Yeshua.
And I do not possess a name.
It's Jeez.
Yeah, in case you haven't picked up on that yet, that's Jeez.
Never saying it. Never saying my name.
So, today, we are talking about one of the most widely known or widely observed modern day UFO sightings. If you have ever heard of the Phoenix Lights, that's what we're talking about today.
Is that like big fireworks display they have every year? The one that looks like a big flaming bird?
No, that's not the one. That's not the one.
Is that like...
But tell me about that.
That's like a car, right?
Oh.
Pontiac?
Nah.
Firebird.
Yeah.
No.
No.
All right.
Actually, this was a gigantic sighting. Thousands of people saw this. March 13th, 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two separate incidents that night. There was two separate incidents that covered a 300-mile area from Phoenix to Tucson.
Mm.
Witnesses reported feeling strange and having temporary amnesia. So, thousands of people are already outdoors because there is a big comet that's going to be visible that night, the Hale-Bopp comet. It's unusually bright. So, there are a lot of people outside already, so it's kind of the perfect storm for this media shitstorm. So, also, fun fact I discovered earlier, Hale-Bopp is a craft of significance for the Heaven's Gate UFO cult in California. Yeah, the one where 39 members to commit suicide 11 days after the Phoenix Lights sighting in Arizona, which is unrelated but very close time frame.
I bet there was some probably untelevised speech given, like, yeah, this is the fucking sign we've all been waiting for. I've been sitting here telling you about it for 30 years, okay? We fucking knew it was coming. Today's the day. The lights in the sky, that means it's time. Yep. Fucking mix up your little rice and fucking chloroform Kool-Aid cocktail and fucking stuff it up your butts.
Yeah, so with that only happening 11 days after the Phoenix Lights, it's really surprising that this whole fiasco really went unnoted by media for months afterwards. So I don't know if they were just focusing on the cult thing or if they just kind of wanted to brush all this shit under the rug because they didn't want to talk about it, but it took 3 months for this to gain national attention.
Well, I feel like Arizona pretty much goes under the radar, like, all the time. Like, I don't ever think about Arizona, ever.
Yeah. But even locally, this wasn't even a topic locally. Like, they just completely disregarded it. There was a councilwoman who brought it up at some meeting. She was the first public official to, like, just bring it up at all. And she basically got laughed off the stage. People approached her, said that was stupid, you shouldn't have asked that question. And then she was just, like, berated for months afterwards, made fun of.
The whole town, the whole city was like, man, there's something I was going to say. I was supposed to tell you guys about something. I just fucking just skipped my mind. I mean, like, it was, like, kind of important. Hell, I don't know. I'll think about it, and then 3 months later, they're like, fuck the lights! Like, God, it's the lights. We gotta tell the news people. Shit.
Hey, you guys remember those fucking lights like 3 months ago, right? I feel like we just kind of swept that under the rug.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, this lady, she brought it up, and then they made, like, political comics about her, and she's wearing, like, an I love UFOs button, and they just made a laughingstock of her. But eventually, the governor, Fife Symington, which we can all take a moment to really absorb that name.
Fake name.
Fife.
Fake name.
Fief. Fief. Fife. Fofum.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nobody names their kid that. That's he's a government plant. So what's stupid about them making fun of, what was it, a councilwoman?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that the entire fucking city pretty much saw the lights. So it's like, of course, someone of significance is going to see them and probably say something about it, but they still jumped all over her like she was some sort of fucking whack job.
Right.
It's like, dude, your neighbor probably saw it too, but you're not, like, you're not running a smear campaign for half the city of Phoenix, like, you know, just because she has a position of power.
Yeah, a lot of people contacted her afterwards and were like, hey, yeah, you know, we saw it too, like, what's going on here? So it's not like she was alone at all, but it wasn't the platform she should have addressed it on for her political career.
Because she fucking is out there decalcifying her pineal gland, man, and they gotta shut the truth down.
That's exactly right. Yeah, so...
Shave your perineum.
Her perennial gland.
Yes. The governor, who is Mr. Fief or Fife, whichever you choose.
The fucking government mole.
He was the governor at the time, and he was also a retired pilot. He was one of the people to witness the incident, and he called it otherworldly. Just a quote from him. He says, "I'm a pilot, and I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery. Other people saw it, responsible people. I don't know why people would ridicule it," he continued. "It was enormous and inexplicable. Who knows where it came from? A lot of people saw it, and I saw it too. It was dramatic." Goes on and on and on. "It couldn't have been flares because it was too symmetrical. It had a geometric outline, a constant shape." So he was governing the Phoenix Lights, and he didn't bring up that he saw this for years. And he was the one who held a press conference and brought out the dude in an alien suit and made a fucking joke of the whole thing.
Yeah, I saw
basically
that.
Like, everybody needs to lighten up. But he saw the thing. So he claims in retrospect that he was just trying to bring light to the situation, get everybody to calm down, distract them, basically. Like, you guys are a bunch of babies. Get over it.
So he sees this and then doesn't say anything about it for years.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
I don't understand how people are like this, because...
Well, he, being a political figure, he probably didn't want to hurt his reputation.
Well, that just shows that I can't ever be in politics, because I'll go up to a fucking stranger and be like, "Dude, I saw this three-legged dog the other day, and it was like the craziest shit ever." I would be telling everybody.
He was speaking in tongues, trying to
Be
cast
like, yeah,
dog spell on me.
I'll take $20 on pump 2, and I saw fucking aliens a week ago. Let me tell you about it.
That's how I was the time I saw something. I wanted to tell anyone who would listen to me.
Yeah, I'll be like a homeless person, but instead of a sob story, it's aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know, I saw some shit when I was a kid, and it was kind of the opposite. Like, I told a couple, like, close people,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, like, I just go around, like, blabbing about this shit. Especially at, like, however old, 11, 12
Okay.
maybe.
Okay.
If I just go around, like, blabbing, people are gonna think I'm a fucking psychopath.
That's true. But, see, it didn't... I feel like if something like that would have happened to me during my formative years, I probably would have turned into, like, an obsessed basket case. I may not have told people about it because I didn't want to seem crazy, but I feel like it would have spiraled into this really insane obsession. Like, more so than I already am. Just
So,
because of the age you were.
During my formative years, I got really, really good at just compartmentalizing shit and just storing it away in the back of my brain for, like, years and years at a time.
Which is completely healthy. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong
So
with
good
that
for you.
whatsoever.
So I feel like if you've got the willpower to just deal with it, like if you can just swallow it down far enough, like the impact is just lower. So like, because with like it just stays there for so long that you don't have to think about it or mentally deal with it. And then by the next time you actually think about it, you're like, oh, this fucking thing happened to me like 10 years ago. You're like, huh. Well, that was fucked up.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, you're
that's
fucking
you dealing with it.
walking into a 7-Eleven and shooting everybody
God
because you never dealt with it.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen to me.
But it's strange that you really were able to, like, bury that, and you really didn't have to... Like, it didn't impact you in any major way, right?
I mean, it scared the living shit out of me.
Right,
Definitely didn't sleep for the rest of the night.
But
or, like, the next day, or...
Yeah.
So, I mean, it happened
Never.
over the summer, too. So, like, I had enough time... I wasn't, like, surrounded by people. You know, I lived out in the middle of nowhere. I saw it out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have any fucking friends. So, like, I could only really tell one person about it. And then by the time school rolled back around, like, I was kind of over it by then, you know?
Right.
It had lost its, like, immediacy, you know, the pants shitting, oh my fucking god, I just saw a UFO factor, like, was gone by the
Right.
time school rolled back around. So I wasn't as tempted to go around telling everyone about it. I had enough time to kind of take a step back and think, like,
Right.
I probably shouldn't go blabbing,
Right.
you know?
But
So...
if thousands of other people had also said they saw that thing...
Right. No, yeah. If, like, everyone and their mom was talking about it, I'd definitely chip in my 2 cents.
Right.
But this was in the middle of nowhere, and it wasn't, like, way the fuck up in the sky. Mine was, like, mine was almost touching the trees. Like, it was so low. So, I'm pretty sure no one else saw it.
So, so Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
Goddamn Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, right? Fun fact about Kurt Russell, so Walt Disney died in the hospital. His last words, they weren't spoken because he was in pretty rough shape when he was dying. His last words were scribbled on a napkin, and it just said Kurt Russell. It was the last thing he wrote before he died.
It was a fucking warning, and we didn't listen.
Now, at the time Walt Disney died, Kurt Russell was like 12. So, I mean, highly unlikely that he was, you know, some sort of Chinese assassin. But, you never know, really. Kids are capable of the damnedest things, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Look, it all makes sense if you think about it really hard, and then throw logic and reason out the window.
Yeah.
So Walt Disney was obviously a time traveler.
clearly.
Traveled back in time to be a famous animator, then made the Disneyland parks to lure Kurt Russell there as a child to kill him.
Because
he was trying
also
to save us.
Kurt Russell's dad,
No.
right? Time travel?
No.
Oh, no, maybe Kurt Russell was Walt Disney's dad.
No, everyone knows that 1,000 children are sacrificed a day in Walt Disneyland. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that was?
Dude, there was a fucking baby that got eaten by an alligator.
Yeah.
You guys remember hearing about that like a year or two
Yeah,
ago?
they ignored like the 50 signs that said don't get in the water.
It's like all the fucking signs. It's like, please don't have any, small children by this pond. There are fucking man-eating animals in it. And some couples just like, we need to go by the pond just to prove to everyone that nature is nice. Animals are loving creatures. All of Gaia's creatures will love you and embrace you with their teeth.
And unfortunately, their child suffered for those shortcomings.
Yeah, not for long though. He was an infant, and I'm gonna hedge a guess that crocodile bite was probably did the job pretty quickly.
Definitely an alligator. Yeah, I've been there. It's a gigantic lake, and there are signs everywhere.
Fucking excuse me. All right, my bad.
All right, so Kurt Russell, he saw this whole thing happen, and there's some audio that came out a couple years ago. Was it an interview with BBC or something?
Some British guy.
Yeah.
Was like, hey, we heard this story. So the idea was, it was just reported in the official report. It was like one military aircraft reported seeing the strange lights, and one civilian pilot also reported the strange lights. It was later, way later, Kurt Russell was watching the news and heard this and was like, oh, fuck. Apparently he didn't think anything of it. And you can watch it. We'll link the clip, or I guess we'll just drop the sound right into the podcast, right?
May be able to help me in this may feature. Who knows? Because this is an international story. Because of you both being here, I looked into the international files, not covered by our Ministry of Defense, but maybe covered by yours. This took place in Arizona. An unidentified pilot, according to the press cuttings, flying near an airport in Arizona with his son when he spotted 6 lights in the night sky. So he called from the aeroplane to air traffic control to say, I'm seeing these lights here. I wasn't expecting any other planes. There are none supposed to be on my landing path. Can you tell me what's going on? They said there are no other planes. He said, I'm seeing 6 bright lights coming towards me. Mystery unresolved.
Except the tail number for that plane was Bonanza 2 Tango Sierra, and I was the pilot. No way. Oliver and I.
Yes, take us back. Doesn't say that in the briefing.
Oliver and I.
I should have read to the end.
Oliver and I were flying in. I was flying him to go see his girlfriend, and we were on approach, and I saw 6 lights over the airport in absolute uniform in a V shape, and Oliver said to me, I was just looking at him, and I was coming in. We're maybe a half a mile out, and Oliver said, "Pa, what are those lights?" And I then it kind of like came out of my reverie, and I said, "I don't know what they are." I said, he said, "Are we okay here?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna call," and I reported it. And they said, "We're not painting anything. We don't show anything." I said, "Well, okay, I'm going to declare it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's 6 objects." Mm-hmm. We landed. I taxied, dropped him off, took off, went back to L.A. Never said a word. He never said a word. I never thought of it. 2 years later, Goldie is watching a television show when I came home. Yeah. And the show is on UFOs. But as I came home, "Hey, honey, how's it going?" And I'm kind of hearing the TV going, and I stopped and I started watching, and it was on that event. Now, that was the most viewed UFO event. Over 20,000 people saw that. And I'm watching this, and I'm feeling like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's like, why do I know this? You know what? And it's not clear to me. And finally, I said. Then they said a pilot reported it. A general aviation pilot reported it on landing. I'd never thought of it since then, and I said, "That was me. That was me." And I said, "Wait a minute. I'll go to my logbooks." So I went to my logbooks, and there was the flight at that time, and I didn't mention anything about the UFO. The fascinating part of that to me is that it just went literally out of my head.
Yeah.
And Oliver never mentioned it. And had I not seen that show, I'd have never thought of it again.
Amazing.
Now, that, to me, was the weird part.
Believer now, Chris? Yes.
Yes.
I'm convinced.
It's just unidentified. It's just unidentified. It's
There you
flying,
go.
and it's
And it's an object.
it's an object.
Moving on. So, 3/13/97, timeline of events. So, there's a lot here, but starting at 7 p.m., northwestern Arizona, the Nevada-Arizona border, there are reports of a massive V-shaped craft passing overhead. So this is the first incident. The first several time slots are from the first incident. So that's 7 p.m. 7:55, a group of lights in a V-shaped formation were witnessed in Henderson, Nevada. Witnesses state the lights were roughly the size of a large passenger jet. There was a second call received from a retired police officer in Paulden, Arizona, 2 hours north of Phoenix. He reported seeing a cluster of red-orange lights arranged in a V formation. He was driving north. He saw a cluster of the red-orange lights in the sky comprising 4 lights together and a 5th light trailing them. Each of the individual lights in the formation appeared to the witness to consist of 2 different point sources of orange light. 8:15. Multiple reports of similar formations come in from Prescott, Arizona, some 200 miles southeast of Henderson. So this whole time it's been moving southeastern. And these are all the same V-shaped sightings. Shortly after, more reports of lights in the sky come in from nearby Dewey, Arizona, 10 miles east of Prescott. So this guy, John Kaiser, was standing outside with his wife and sons in Prescott Valley when they noticed a cluster of lights to the west or northwest of their position. The lights formed a triangular pattern, but all of them appeared to be red, except the light at the nose of the object, which was distinctly white. Now, that's the only recount that I heard where there was a white light. The object or objects, which had been observed for approximately 2 to 3 minutes with binoculars, then passed directly over the observers, were seen to bank to the right, and then disappeared in the night sky to the southeast of Prescott Valley. And then the calls just came in, like the floodgates opened.
Right.
It was just insane. All of them kind of following in this southeastern direction. 8:20.
So they basically there's a like a highway that runs between like Phoenix and Tucson, and it basically followed the highway for the most part, like in a general sense, kind of did this like southeastern curve, starting at Phoenix and ending around Tucson, right?
Right. 8:30, a man and his wife witnessed a light formation above their home in Chandler, 20 miles southeast of Phoenix. 8:45, a report of lights in the sky is received from a man in Tucson, 100 miles southeast of Phoenix. According to the report, the lights were visible for around 10 minutes before disappearing behind the Catalina Mountains. So there were various reports coming from a lot of people, not as many as the second incident, though. But they all agree that the craft was enormous. Some described it as much as a mile wide. It made no sound, it moved slowly, and it stopped often to hover. The sizes reportedly varied from a Boeing 747 to multiple football fields. It traversed Arizona in 106 minutes, based on several reports. And this specific incident lasted from 7:30 to 10. So this entire time, there's just calls and calls and calls coming in, all reporting the V-shaped object. Some think that it had like a uniform shadow to it, like they could see the V-shaped craft and all the lights were one part of a craft. Some people just saw the lights, but they all moved uniformly, which is where some of the other ideas come from later. So that's incident 1.
So a lot of the cover-ups are like, a lot of the explanations, not cover-ups. I don't want to be full tinfoil hat here with this one just yet. But a lot of the explanations given were like flares, like standard, balloons. It's probably just balloons, or that they were individual craft.
Yes,
Each
to
light
that one.
was an individual craft.
Yeah. So.
And I think for them to be in that kind of perfect formation, and for them to be individual aircraft, I feel like they were flying really fucking slow. They said that they were, initially, what did they say? They were A-10 Warthogs?
You're talking about incident
right?
2.
Okay, well...
Hey, slow the fuck down. All right?
Okay. Well, I mean, regardless, I've seen the video, and it looks like the shit's just...
So they're estimated...
It looks like the shit's just, like, hovering.
Yes, but you got to think about altitude. It's with the mileage that they covered, it's estimated that they were moving at 400 miles per hour. 400.
Yeah, which is slow for a fighter jet. I think. I say that like I'm the authority on that. So I know some fighters can break the sound barrier, which is the sonic boom. You hear that sonic boom when fighters take off super fast, and the speed of sound is somewhere around 700 miles per hour. It's like 768 or something like that. So, like, that's almost twice that speed.
Okay,
And-
so in the 70s, the average speed for a commercial or for a passenger plane was 497 miles per hour. Today, it's up to 621.
Okay, hold on. I just Googled the A-10 Warthog travel speed, and it's 439 miles per hour.
I need to see the science behind this.
It does...
I need to see it.
There is a
We just-
gratuitous range here, though. It
Look,
can go much
we just
quicker.
take everyone's word for it.
Cruising speed is 340. So, with Incident 1, there was a guy who came forward. His name was Mitch Stanley. He was out watching the comet.
fake
and
name.
No,
fake name.
I mean, probably. He had a... I'm laughing before I even say it. A 10-inch,
first names.
a 10-inch Dobsonian telescope. That's what they call them these days.
Yeah.
He spotted the initial sighting, so Incident 1, the V,
yeah.
from his backyard, and saw what he claims was a formation of airplanes.
So his 10-inch Dobsonian
Yeah.
discovered the V.
Magnified 60 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out there.
All right.
Hey, man.
He's out
So,
there
he
looking
could
at V's.
magnify-
What's his name?
10-incher.
Mitch McConnell?
We've been there.
Mitch
We've all been there.
Stanley.
Two first names. It's fake name.
All right, goddammit. He magnified it 60 times. And when
Yep.
he did that, he could see the double lights. So with one light under each squarish wing. So they were still small, but he could tell that they were all flying at the same altitude, and he could tell what type of craft they were. There was one person who videotaped.
What kind of craft were they? Did he tell you what they were?
He said they were warthogs.
So I've heard reports that they were silent.
There were also reports from people who lived in really isolated areas far away from the city where it was quiet who claimed it wasn't silent.
I need to see the science on this.
Yeah.
And where are the reports? Where are the
I
reports
can't
from
wait
these
to hear the
isolated
government's
people?
explanation of
The
this.
garbage articles I read earlier.
Or did Mitch McConnell cover those up too?
Mitch Stanley.
All right. Yeah, sure.
So
I know that turtle-necked motherfucker's out there just covering all this shit up.
yeah, I sure was.
Have you
He was
seen
really good
Have
in,
you seen the fucking
Hannibal,
Master of Disguise movie?
No,
The fucking turtle man.
I don't watch garbage.
Yes. Have you ever seen fucking Hannibal?
Yeah.
The guy in the, Gary
Have
Oldman
I?
in the wheelchair? Yeah, he looks just like Mitch McConnell, man.
So nobody got the V-shaped thing on camera except for like one or two people. I could only find confirmed one. He videotaped the V and
Okay.
the second event. The tape clearly showed 5 lights of the 830V moving in relation to each other, which really supports the idea that it's one craft, but also supports the idea that it's a group of airplanes flying in a formation. But he did say it was only 5, or there were only 5 captured on camera, while our friend Kurt Russell claimed that there were 6, if I remember correctly. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between everyone's stories, but there were a lot of things that didn't really make any sense either. Like, is it a football field long, or is it an airplane, or is it...
Yeah, I've heard it was like one gigantic craft that was like 5 miles wide.
Yeah. It gets a little confusing when you Google this incident, too, because you'll see a lot of images that are just made-up images, and people confuse them for being real documentation.
So I've heard it explained as like
news.
you could kind of see a vague outline of like
Yeah,
a gigantic
shadow.
boomerang-shaped craft.
Right. Blocked out the stars.
Yeah. As it was passing between your eyes and the stars, it would block the stars out, and that's how they knew, it was one gigantic craft. And, it was just kind of amorphous beyond that. Like, they couldn't make out a definite outline or shape, like they couldn't really make out the form of the craft, they couldn't really see it, which I can attest to personally. When I saw what I saw, it was kind of similar. Like, I saw lights on the bottom of a craft, and then I as I was trying to make out, like, I guess I probably should have held my hand up and kind of blocked the lights, just like the bottom. But I remember sitting there just staring off at it, trying to see what the top looked like, if it was going to be like the standard, classical, like, dome-shaped top flying saucer type thing, or what. And I remember kind of just vaguely seeing some sort of outline. It just kind of disappeared. Like, it went
Right.
saucer-shaped up the sides, and then the top was just kind of gone. So,
Right.
I don't know if that's, like, cloaking, or if it... I don't know, maybe it was
Because it's at night. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was just
Trick of the
too
eye.
dark. I don't know.
Jesse, have you seen anything? Anything fucking weird in the sky?
I saw this really crazy cloud one time.
Really?
Yeah, it looked like Godzilla.
Oof.
But that's it. I've never seen, like, I don't think I've ever seen any, like, alien or spaceship or anything like that.
Man, I remember seeing
Yeah.
shit in the clouds way more often when I was a kid.
Because you looked
Yeah.
and you cared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look up and be like,
Now you don't give
Pizza.
a fuck anymore.
I actually look a lot, though. I don't know.
yeah.
It just...
Hold on to that as long as you can.
I do think I remember the last time actually seeing a cloud formation and being like, oh. And it was like 5 years ago.
Really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You guys.
Oh,
Because I took a picture
I
of
like...
it with my phone. I, like, walked outside and was like, oh, dolphins. And just, like, took a picture. Yeah.
Yeah. No, today I don't know. It's like a regular occurrence for me.
I mean, I look up and I'll see, like, cool colors, like how the clouds are playing with the sunset, and I'll be like, oh, that's neat, but I'm not, like, actively searching for forms in the clouds anymore. Maybe it's because I'm an old prick.
So, Incident 1 took place, just to recap, from 7 to 10, 7:30 to 10, depending on where you read. So, at 10 p.m., a whole new sighting takes place. Reports are just flooding in from Phoenix specifically, like hundreds of reports. Witnesses are describing an arc of blinking lights hanging in the air above the city for roughly 30 minutes, which slowly moved over Phoenix before disappearing as soon as they reached the Sierra Estrella mountain range, southwest of the city.
I'm sorry, this is the same night?
This is the same night,
Okay.
yes. So the first one took place 7 to 10, and then at 10 a whole new sighting occurs that is no longer the V-shaped sighting.
Okay.
This is just a line of blinking lights. This is the one, when you Google Phoenix lights and all the videos come up, this is what you're looking at.
Gotcha.
Everyone got video footage.
So I guess
of this.
everyone was primed and ready from the first one.
Well, no, it kind of just landed there on time. The V-shaped formation didn't, to my knowledge, continue much further south. It's almost as if it stopped there and then this began, which coincides pretty well with the theories against this. But, so, these things hung in the air for 30 minutes before they kind of just disappeared at the mountain range southwest of the city. There wasn't, like, virtually any video or any kind of footage of the first incident, but the second one, there's just shit tons of it. The theory with that one is the flares.
So the official government statement was, did the government actually release a statement?
They did.
Did they release a statement
They
on the
did.
first incident?
I'll read it. I got it pulled up, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. So the government's official stance is that it was a bunch of old nickels that were thrown into the air,
Fuck off.
and that was it.
Yeah. So did they
That was
they
it.
say who threw the nickels? Was it Mitch fucking McConnell?
God damn it, Mitch.
That's where the plot
Right.
thickens, man.
So, the Air Force did come out and publicly announce that the second group of lights, Incident 2, was flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft that were training at the Barry Goldwater Range, which is southwest of Arizona, which is also behind the Estrella Mountain Range, which I think is important
So
to know.
did they not? They denied the whole thing outright initially, right?
No, not to my knowledge.
I thought first and foremost they came out and they were like, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then it was like 7,000 people were like, no, we saw it. And then we were like, oh, okay, well, listen. Initially, I remember reading somewhere, they said, initially someone petitioned whatever Air Force base is out there. They called the base and they said, hey, we're seeing some crazy shit. Do you have planes in the sky right now? And they said no, initially. They were like, no, we've got nothing.
Hold on. To my knowledge, they came clean about the flares almost immediately. But there were spokesmen from the National Guard who stated that the planes never went north of Phoenix, so Incident 1 was never confirmed. So they accounted for Incident 2, seemingly.
Right.
But they could not say anything for the A-10 Warthogs in Incident 1. Now, a lot of people who don't believe in any of this say that, oh, it was the formation of the Warthogs getting ready to go drop the flares, but it was confirmed that they never went north of Phoenix, so all of those hundreds of sightings couldn't be confirmed.
So
But you're saying that they denied any involvement at all?
yeah. Like as it was happening, I watched an interview with some lady who called the Air Force base as she was watching the lights and said, "Hey, there's something in the sky. What am I looking at? Are these your planes?" And whatever representative from the Air Force said, "No, we don't have anything in the air right now," which I'm sure was like, whoever that was, their CO was like, "God damn it, what are you doing? Don't say yes or no yet, son of a bitch. Fucking,
So-
you gotta fucking smoke it up a little, right? You gotta fucking push out the smoke cloud so we can fumble around and come up with a real fucking answer, all right? God damn it, you just told them no. Now we gotta come up with something, all right? We gotta apologize later and be like, sorry, we lied to you. We did actually have airplanes in the sky. I mean, come on. I mean, we're an Air Force base. We've like always got planes in the sky.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
We just, out of reflex, say no when you call and ask,
Right.
because we don't know what we're doing.
So, people like to claim that the V didn't show up on any radar anywhere, which may be true, but anyone who's investigated this, they never bothered to ask the FAA in Albuquerque for any of the tapes. And the tapes are only kept on file for 11 days and then they're disposed of. So basically, no one will ever know. No one looked into
Whoa.
it. Now the information's gone. So,
Wait a minute. So the tapes get thrown out the same day that the people killed themselves at Heaven's Gate.
Whoa!
11 days.
What the fuck?
Mitch McConnell!
Look, there's some shit going on,
Conspiracy
all right?
theory fodder.
And we've all got shovels here.
Yeah.
We're going to get down to the bottom of it.
That's good. Look at you. 11 days.
So here's what I think. I don't want to go super deep with the fucking tinfoil hat. I feel like if
You're no fun.
now listen, I'm gonna get a little deep with it, but not real deep. I feel like if it was some sort of alien craft, I feel like they would be stupid to linger like that for that long and to be seen for that long. I feel like it may have been, if anything, a cover-up. Yes, if it was a cover-up, I feel like it was probably some sort of government exercise or maybe a government aircraft or something like that they didn't intend on showing the entire city of Phoenix and Tucson, and they kind of had to scramble to come up with something when they were asked about it, because as we all know, the government makes mistakes. Our infallible government, I'm sure while they were running whatever exercise they were running, I'm sure it was some sort of black site, fucking black budget exercise with some unknown aircraft that we're not supposed to know about, and suddenly,
In which case, I'm disappointed that it only went 400 miles per hour.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm sure it was some sort of test run, they're probably working out the kinks or whatever, and some fucking asshole intern nudged the fucking running lights on accident, and, no one told them about it. And, so I'm sure, because everything in the military is on a need-to-know basis. So when you call the Air Force, the asshole that answers the phone isn't going to know that there's some experimental aircraft in the air, right? So they're going to check their logs and go, no, we've got nothing official in the sky right now. There's literally nothing out there. And then everyone's like, holy shit, aliens! But, like I said, everything's on a need-to-know basis. So, the guy answering the phone's not going to know that the fucking $3 trillion experimental 5-mile-wide aircraft is up in the air doing fucking dance maneuvers or whatever. So I feel like if you're running, now this is just another personal theory of mine, so if you're running silent, you're running dark, like, I feel like it would be just natural to follow like a natural runway, like that highway. That way you've got a constant marker of where you're at. Like, they probably fully intended on, not running any lights, not really running any radio traffic, so they couldn't be picked up by anyone. So
know.
Like you follow a highway like that, you're not going to hit any towers, you're not going to run into other aircraft. I mean, so you said people could hear a noise. I feel like we probably don't have any noiseless aircraft yet. I wouldn't think so. That'd be really, really handy on the battlefield, and I feel like we'd be implementing that shit if we did. So, I don't know. I feel like it kind of makes sense for it to be some sort of government, because that's kind of in the area where all the experimental government shit happens, out there in the fucking desert, out in Arizona, outside of Vegas. So I feel like that would be where you would see shit like that anyways. If anywhere in the U.S., it would be there. I feel like that would make the most sense as far as cover-up land, and then...
It'd be a big fucking oopsie for the guy who's like, oops, I didn't realize there was a big comet in town tonight, and everyone's gonna be watching. Like, I don't know.
They don't do their research.
After working for the government, you would be like, this doesn't shock me. An oversight like that does not shock me whatsoever.
They're just people. They're not special people.
As much as I want this to be true, I really just feel like it was some planes out for some practice flare drops.
No!
It just makes sense. It just makes... I hate to say that, but it's so reasonable.
So,
I don't know.
Okay. It was individual aircraft, but it's some sort of hive mind fucking new AI linkage system.
If this would have happened during the daytime, it wouldn't have been a big deal.
That's why it didn't happen during the daytime, because it was a fucking government cover-up. They intended on running dark, is what I'm trying to tell you. They intended on being super discreet. You fly your secret aircraft at night, and you turn off all the lights.
But they didn't turn off all the lights. They left all the lights on.
That's what I'm saying. Intern Dan fucking knocked the switch with his elbow and,
I guess.
Spilt his fucking Coke on the goddamn control board. I don't think it's...
Yeah.
Like I said, they're not...
At each and every one
special
of them.
people. They're just regular people, and they fuck up. And sometimes the people operating the super hyper experimental hive mind AI aircraft, sometimes they fuck up too.
That's fair.
Someone switched the lights on.
If we sat here and thought that maybe they were actual extraterrestrials, I also don't believe that they would have wanted to be seen.
Right,
like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it would have been a big mistake for the aliens.
It's not like there was some giant message conveyed or something.
Right.
It was just
it was
mass witness.
Yeah. If anything, that would be like like a show of power. I feel like if it, let's say it was an alien race, right? It'd just be like, look at us. Look at us. We can fly over your large cities with our lights on and cause mass hysteria. And what can you do? You can only take pictures. Yeah. And you can only take bad pictures because it's 1997 and you're not done reverse engineering our technology yet. We are
you're
superior.
You're just stupid Polaroids.
You are in all of our massive
shake
crafts.
them. We are gone.
So I feel like if it was an alien craft and they were going to make a big show of it, they would have done something on a mass scale, like other than just be seen. Like they would have like banged out some big brown note and made everyone within earshot like
there would have been
some
communication.
Right.
Clearly, if they exist, they don't operate that way because it hasn't been this far. So the second incident, the 10 p.m. incident, where it was just the hovering lights.
And these were just in a line, right? This wasn't a V formation.
Yes.
Okay.
So I did read reports where they were allegedly a square-shaped entity, but that was the minority of the reports I read. Mm-hmm. So we're just sticking with the one line.
That's the folks with the square-shaped eyeballs.
Yeah, that's those guys.
Yeah.
But I did read that they were blinking lights, which makes me think flare a little bit. But so people at higher elevations observed them for a longer length of time than people at lower elevations, which makes me think that it was actually behind the Estrellas Mountains. Because if you were at a lower elevation, you wouldn't have been able to see them for as long.
Okay.
Which would mean that they really were dropping them exactly where they were saying they were dropping them, which is at that practice base, like right behind the mountains. So,
which is code for that's really where our experimental aircraft was.
Which I'm cool with. That's fine. Mm-hmm. I think an experimental aircraft hovered above the pond in my front yard when I was a child, which is a side story, possibly for another time. Mm-hmm. Also, there have been a couple, I think there was one in 2007 maybe, and which seems a little too perfectly timed for a 10-year reunion. But evidently something similar happened in 2007, and something similar happened in 2008. But in 2008, a guy came forward and said that he tied flares to helium balloons, and the images look pretty fucking spot on to Incident 2.
Was his name Mitch McConnell?
It may have been. Mm-hmm. He didn't say.
Yeah.
He wished to remain anonymous.
Mm-hmm. That was during the election.
Yep.
That was during
Definitely
the
wasn't
election.
Rich Stanley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Josh saw a video today. You saw one from 2015.
Yeah, just a couple years ago, and it's like almost exactly the same. It was the 5 lights and the V formation. It's something we can probably link it in the show notes, the YouTube video. But I mean, it's obviously much better video quality. So something I don't see, and it's something you see in flares, is like a flickering, right? Flares are, I mean, they burn, but they don't burn completely evenly.
So I was reading about different kinds of flares, and there's something called a countermeasure flare, and it's used to confuse heat-seeking missiles.
Yeah.
And then there are illumination flares that are used to light up the ground at night for various purposes.
Yeah.
And they were saying that it was an illumination flare, which they called it specifically what they dropped that night, an LUU-2, air-deployed high-intensity illumination flare. And my thoughts on it are that the flickering would have been similar to the flare. People said it was blinking. So they did tests, but all the tests I saw were during daylight. And so there were big trails that were really obvious. But at night, at varying elevations, I can see where that could have been misconstrued.
So I've seen these illumination flares get deployed, and they tend to drop slowly. I mean, they are still affected by gravity. So they drop slowly, and they can be affected by the wind. But I don't foresee them being able to stay in perfect formation for that long.
Right.
And be able to go from fucking Phoenix all the way to Tucson in perfect formation.
No. We're just talking. Flares are only
so flares
for
were the
incident
incident too. So
Yeah.
the straight line.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how far did the straight line travel?
It slowly descended behind the mountain range.
So as far as like point A to point B, it wasn't super far.
No, not at all.
Okay.
There was no major travel there. Yeah.
Interesting.
So people think that they just like disappeared one by one.
Yeah.
But the counter theory is that they one by one dropped behind the mountain range. So who knows?
And the
So I can get behind for sure that the second one was flares. Like whatever, fuck it. But the first incident, the V formation, like that one's completely unresolved.
So they did the flares on purpose so they could have an excuse
To
for the first
divert the attention.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or maybe they were looking for something.
What do you think they were looking for?
one. Mitch McConnell.
Tell us.
They were looking for Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the man behind it all.
Him and Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool as fuck, honestly.
Yeah, it's really cool.
First of all, who the fuck knew that Kurt Russell could fly an airplane? So he was bringing his son in to like meet some girl.
Fucking Kurt Russell. He
And
can
he's
do
just
whatever
like-
he wants.
Hey, son, why don't you jump into my fucking airplane? I'll take you down there myself. And then flies his fucking kid off to Arizona. Like, you want to meet that chick you fucking exchanged numbers with at Disneyland last year? She's where? That's cool.
Oh.
Let's go down there. So he's Star-Lord's dad. He's also
Don't
Snake
act like you've
Plissken.
seen that movie.
And in real life, I've seen the fucking first one, alright?
Alright, but you can't. Don't do that.
So this is the quote from Kurt, which we can still, do the video or whatever, but he said, I was flying my son Oliver to go see his girlfriend. How old is Oliver that he gets a personal flight to see his girlfriend? And we were on approach. I saw 6 lights above the airport in absolute uniform in a V shape. Oliver said to me, I was just looking at him, I was coming in, we're maybe a half a mile out, and Oliver said, Pa, what are those lights? Fucking Pa.
Of course he calls him fucking Pa.
Yeah. Then I kind of came out of my reverie and I said, I don't know what they are. He said, are we okay here? And I said, yeah, I'm going to call it in. And I reported it.
So it's
And that's literally all it was.
It's paw, not pa. It's paw.
Pa.
It's paw, not pa.
And I also like to
Alligator.
Pa.
It's alligator.
I also like
I
to
didn't say
imagine
pa.
You said pa. Pa. It's paw.
That's the third option.
It's like puppy paw.
So yeah, he didn't think much of it, but Goldie Hawn, his wife, was watching TV years later, and they were watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and that's when it kind of like dawned on him, and he was like, holy shit, that's what happened. I just want to say, bullshit, you know what happened when you saw that.
everybody knew what happened. What is up with everyone fucking forgetting about this shit? It doesn't
That
make
was
any
one of the
sense.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Mild amnesia.
Mitch McConnell.
Fuck.
Fucking Mitch Stanley is going to listen to this later and be like, what the fuck?
Who the fuck are these people?
Mitch Stanley's dead, okay? And Mitch McConnell's wearing his skin right now, okay?
Right. Men in Black killed him.
Yeah, yeah. You know too much. Zoinks! Mitch McConnell.
Actually, no, he was giving like the perfect cover up, so.
That's because he's
It's like,
Mitch
actually,
McConnell.
I'm the only
I'm trying
one
to
who
tell
was
you,
around who
he
could see it
knew
up
too
close,
much.
and it was airplanes.
So he came to the authorities. He knew way too much. And then they were just like, hey, Mitch Stanley, Mitch McConnell, same guy. We'll cut your face off and throw it on the other Mitch and then generate the perfect cover-up. Just give you 2 first names. That's pretty American.
Blend in seamlessly. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think from the sound of it that the second one was absolutely flares, 100%.
Yeah.
The first one, though, that's interesting.
What's
What's
your
theory on it? What's your
like,
theory on the first one?
I feel like they were struggling to come up with a cover-up. Now, whether it's UFO, whether it's some secret whatever, whether it's regular aircraft that and they were doing some, Black Ops fucking training
Sketchy
program.
stuff,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, maybe they were, fucking dropping chemtrails over Phoenix or whatever, right? So I feel like they were coming up. They had to scramble. It sounds to me like they had to scramble to come up with some sort of diversion or explanation that they weren't prepared to just drop immediately. I feel like they scrambled quickly to come up. What's fucking funny?
I took a picture of my laptop screen, and you have the most outrageous face.
I can fucking see you over there.
Oh my God,
shitting your
send that
little-
to me.
your
Send
little
that to
girl
me.
Pants.
Send that to me.
I sent it to Kate. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Cool. I need more in my photo album of Josh.
All right.
That's all we need
We've
is
got
more
some
fucking
good ones.
ammunition. Fucking feet.
Anyway,
Farts and
I need you to
so-
I need you to compartmentalize it and shove it down some more, okay?
That's what I always do. I'll be here for you. See what they never do. What you fucking never do. No one ever checks on their strong friends, right? There's like, oh, he can take it. He always takes it. He always just takes it, and fucking comes out on top. You don't ever just fucking go up to your buddy who's always fucking just fucking taking it and ask him how he's doing. All right? No one ever does that.
Hey,
No one ever does that. No one's ever like,
Hey,
hey man,
Josh.
No.
you
I
always
got
do
you. I
such
got
a
you.
great job of bending over. and
are you
having it.
okay?
I
but-
got
Hey, do you need to talk to anybody?
Fuck off!
Josh. Hey, seriously, for real.
No,
for real.
no.
No,
No.
no,
Listen,
seriously.
I
I just
edit
want
these
to. I just
goddamn
want to.
things. I'll turn you into a fucking babbling idiot. All right? I'll fucking reverse all your words, make you sound like you're fucking talking out of your ass. All right?
Listen. No, you make a really solid point there. You really do. A lot of times people don't ask, their friends that seem to be taking everything really well and in stride if they're doing okay. So I want to ask you, in all sincerity, are you done being a pussy bitch?
No.
All right. We'll talk after the program.
No, we won't.
I'm worried
No,
about
we
you.
won't.
I'm worried about you, son.
Yeah, you're gonna
So-
be worried.
We got a little away from topic here.
Yes, we did. Okay, so theory. Josh thinks that it was basically a cover-up. The second one was a smoke screen to cover up the first one. Right?
Right.
It seems like the most
Okay.
likely thing.
I will agree.
In
It
my
does sound very plausible.
Yeah.
Kat, what do you think?
What I want to think is that it was government related, that they were testing something. I think that's the fun idea. I do not think it was aliens, but I think it is likely that everyone overreacted and it was actually nothing, which is not the popular idea.
I mean, it was
know that.
definitely
That one's
something.
not as fun.
I think they were just out having a practice.
So, I feel like if they were just out having a practice, if it was just a nonchalant, regular, official exercise, the old bimbo working the fucking telephone machine would have known about it.
Right.
Because you can call
That's
at
fair.
any time and be like, hey, there's strange aircraft in the air. You guys got something going on? And they'll be like, yeah, we're doing some shit. Shut up. And, like, that's really all she could have said. And that probably would have appeased whoever was on the phone, right? Be like, oh, it's just the Air Force. But she said no, initially. The representative, whoever it is, I mean, they're an enlisted Air Force person. So, I mean, they're on a need-to-know basis. I feel like if it was something regular, then the regular folks at the Air Force would have known about it.
That's possible. I also think there's a lot of people involved, and they may not have known what to say.
Yeah, I mean, word doesn't always travel super well, especially within the government.
Okay, my theory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think, obviously, this one makes the most sense. So, the first one was a series of 6 very small planes. I'm talking like puddle jumpers, right? With the running light on. All flying in a V formation. but then they shut their lights off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then no. Okay, no, start over. Okay, so it was a big aircraft, right? Everyone said that they thought it was a really big, like, football field size thing. Yeah. Okay, so big aircraft. It's going to Fort Knox in Tennessee.
A little off
to the
there.
Treasury Department. It's full of shiny nickels. All
I
right?
was waiting.
Shiny nickels. Bear with me here. And it gets a fucking hole in the side and then starts leaking nickels out, right? And, you know, we're talking real shiny nickels here. So while they're doing their little thing through the air, they're catching the light, right? And it's like a little boop, boop, boop spotlight.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone saw. But then we can't have everyone knowing that there's fucking millions of nickels out there in Arizona, because people are going to go fucking nuts and go find all of them, right? And we just can't have that. So they did the flare cover-up so that people wouldn't be out there. And you know what? I'm going to go to Arizona, and I'm going to find all those nickels, and I'm going to strike it rich. And that's my theory.
There you have it, everybody.
There it is. That's what
Shiny-
actually happened. So
Shiny nickels.
your all your Phoenix Lights documentaries are for naught. It's horseshit.
Yeah. Trash.
Quit trying so
Yeah.
hard. We figured it out.
Yep.
Yep, nickels. All right, well, if you liked our podcast, drop us a like, click the thumbs up button below. Be sure you hit the subscribe notification so that it pops up every week. And
The more you
join us.
support our channel, the more happy we get, you know?
I don't want to work anymore. My knees hurt
Yeah.
all the time.
So
Give
Yes.
me money.
Gout.
we'll probably
Dude,
start
I
like a GoFundMe.
Don't have gout. It came back negative. They don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
They think it's
He doesn't-
autoimmune.
I think he's
Look,
probably got gout.
Look, I'm dying, and we need to set up a Patreon so that people will give me money so I
Yeah.
don't have to do things anymore and
Yeah.
live the American dream.
You really just need to eat better.
I am eating better. I ate
It takes longer
Doesn't
than
count.
like a week.
Yeah,
though.
I had
save- for
cornbread
like a day or
yesterday.
two.
Cornbread.
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of cornbread.
I think you probably need to have a sit
chicken?
down with a nutritionist or something. Really hash out what better means in terms of food.
I think
I-
that you need to do like experimentation with your own diet until you figure out what works for you, because everyone's different.
All right. So we're not talking about Jesse's gout anymore.
I don't have gout.
All right. For real. You know, leave us a review or don't. I don't care about your opinion at the end of the day. Just click all the stars you can click if there's stars.
About you.
You know, find us on iTunes. Find us in your mother's garage. Find us
We
down the
cuss too
street.
much for iTunes.
Do we?
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
don't. I don't think we do.
That's a thing.
Yeah, they won't have us.
They'll have us.
Fuck those club dick
They'll
pieces
have
of
us.
shit.
Or we'll have them. All right? I don't think we cuss too much. Fuck off. And then that's it.
See ya, Beatrice.
Okay, bye.
No, you
Bye.
fucking. All right. All right, so we're closing out today's show with some music. We like to do this at the end of all of our podcasts. These guys reached out to us. This is a group called Balance Factor. They are an industrial hard rock metal band from Gary, Indiana. They say, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel or start a revolution. We're just going to give you a soundtrack to make life more livable, which is respectable, if you ask me. Their Ouroboros EP came out on July 21st on all platforms. It's a 5-piece, like I said, from Gary, Indiana, which doesn't sound like a real place. So their website is balancefactormusic.com. You can reach out to them at balancefactormusic@gmail.com. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play, Spotify, all that stuff. They've got a show upcoming. It might be after we actually release this episode. The show will probably be before we actually release the episode, but they've got an upcoming show on October 20th at The Room in Highland, Indiana, with Sponge. This track is from, I'm going to assume it's from their Ouroboros EP. This is called California.
Well, 35 years ago this week, Los Angeles went up in flames. Torn apart by one of the worst riots in the history. After Roger a convenience store owner shot and killed a 15-year-old black teenager over a TV attack. Story that is blowing up the internet, blowing up a lot of police officers. Well,